Hello everyone. Today I'll be demonstrating how to export contours with their height elevations into AutoCAD using QGIS. The first thing you want to do is set up your coordinate reference system, and for that we'll go to the bottom right hand corner, left click. So in South Africa we use the WGS 1984 transverse Mercator, but for some reason it is not available for selection in QGIS. But what I have found is that the WGS 1984 Web Mercator auxiliary sphere works just as fine. So to set that up, we'll go to Filter, Search Web Mercator, and then right here at the bottom, we want to select WGS 1984 Web Mercator auxiliary sphere. Click Apply and click OK. The next thing you want to do is drag and drop any layers which you'll require. For the purposes of this demonstration, I've only dragged and dropped the GLM 2-meter contour layer for Cape Town. The next thing you want to do is go to the area which you are interested in. So I am interested in this area over here. So for instance, let's say my site was over here. I would only be interested in working with the contours in this area over here. The next thing I want to do is create a layer for that area. So I'll go to Layer, Create Layer, New Shapefile Layer. File name, let's first select where we want to save it. I'll save it under my projects and I'll save it as temp layer. Save. Geometry type, we'll select polygon, and the coordinate reference system, we'll select the Web Mercator auxiliary sphere. Click OK, and you'll see now that our temporary layer has been created. The next thing I want to do is create a boundary around the contours which I'm interested in. So for that, we'll go to Toggle Editing and Add Polygon. So I'll draw a boundary around the contours which I'm interested in. Right click, and yeah, you can type in anything. I'll just type in 1, and that is now boundary. Let's just put this at the top. So now I want to clip the contours so that only these ones show. And to do that, we will have to go to Vector, Geoprocessing Tools, Clip, and as the input layer, we'll select the GLM 2-meter contour layer, and then as the overlay area, we'll select the temporary layer. Click Run. And close. Oh, I forgot to save the temporary layer. Not an issue. Save. And now we can switch off our temporary layer and we can switch off our GLM 2-meter contour layer. And we are now left with the layer which we just clipped. Let's just change the color of the contours so that they are more visible. Cool. So if we were using ArcGIS, we could export this as it is and it would work fine in AutoCAD. But unfortunately in QGIS, we have to create a shapefile which has elevation so that when we export it, AutoCAD can pick up on the elevations of the contours. So now we need to save this clipped layer as a shapefile. So we'll right click on it, go to Export, Save Features As, and I want to save it under Projects. Let's save it as Test Site. Save. And I want it on the WGS 1984 Web Mercator auxiliary sphere. click OK, and we can now switch off our clipped layer. So now I'm left with the test site. The next thing I want to do is now give this layer elevation, and for that we need to use one of the plugins, and for that we'll go to plugins. So I've already installed the plugin. It's called Grass, but if you haven't already installed it, you'll go to manage and install plugins, and you'll search Grass and select Grass 7, and over here it should say install plugin. So once that is done, you will go to plugins again, go to the Grass plugin and say new map set. So I want mine under projects, next, create new location, let's just say Grass. And I want to select the WGS 1984 Web Mercator Auxiliary Sphere. Next. Let's give it a name. We'll say test site Grass. Next, and finish. Okay. So now we will have to go to plugins again, go to Grass, and open Grass Tools. Over here, I want to search import vector and select the first one. Loaded layer will be the test site layer, and we can call it imported test site. Run, view output, and you'll see that it will appear here. We can now switch off the test site. We'll go back to modules. Over here, we'll type in 3D, and you want to select this one over here. This is what will give the contours elevation when you export them into AutoCAD. So, name of input vector map, we will select the imported test site. We will say imported test site with height, and column with height values, we'll select the elevation one. Run, view output, close. You can switch that off. Just make it more visible. Right click, styles, make it blue. So now we can export this into a AutoCAD readable file, and for that we will go to project, export project to DXF. We'll save it as test site with height CAD. Save. You want to make sure that it is on the WGS 1984 Web Mercator Auxiliary Sphere, and you only want to export the one which we just created. Click OK, and that is done. Let's just minimize this. Go to projects. Let's open the CAD file. And let's just swivel it. Yeah, you can see it has elevation. Go to front. Yeah, you can see it has elevation. And that's how you do it. Thank you for watching. Cheers.